Today's video, I'll show you something really special. It's not the first time I've made salmon or crispy skin salmon before, but it's the first time that I'll be sharing it with you and sharing this amazing recipe to get the best crispy skin blackened salmon with some creamy mashed potatoes and some creamed spinach as well. A light version, so it's gonna be a nice balanced meal. You'll find the full recipe with tips and tricks and instructions in the description box down below. And let's first begin with our mashed potatoes. There is a video for this already, but to make things easier, let me recap it right now. The first thing you want to do is cook the potatoes. I'm going to be using the Instant Pot on steam mode. It should take you about 12 minutes to steam them and have a natural release to completely cook them inside. But depending on the size of your potato, it might take longer or a shorter amount of time. So I have a full guide in the full recipe for steamed potatoes to tell you what to do if your potatoes are unusually large or unusually small. So while those potatoes are steaming, let's move our attention to our fish. So let's first make our blackening spice for our salmon. So we'll start with our cayenne pepper, some garlic powder, onion powder, a bit of paprika, and then some dried basil leaves, some thyme leaves, again dried, and some oregano as well, along with some white pepper, some regular ground black pepper, and some salt as well. So you don't have to add extra salt. It's already in the blackening spice, which is pretty convenient. Then just mix it all really well, and it just smells great and it looks great as well. Now try and get the freshest salmon that you can find and go for the belly meat. So don't go for the ones that have a bit of a tapered edge on the side and the meat kind of thins out, because that's like the tail end and you won't get the meaty part, the tastiest part of the fish. Salmon is good throughout. The whole fish is delicious. But just for presentation and just for the bang for your buck, get that belly meat, the thick piece. So what you want to do is hold the fish gently like this, fold it to create the surface tension, to make some nice slits on the top few centimeters of the fish. Once you're done that, you can use your knife at an angle to scale it as well, remove those extra scales, and then once you're done, give your board a really nice clean wipe. Now you need a really sharp knife to score and scale the fish the way I'm doing it right now. And if you find that your knife is not sharp enough to easily cut that slit on that skin, because that's pretty tough, then try to sharpen it and see if that helps. And if you find that your knife is just not sharp enough and it can't get any sharper, just skip the step. You might find some inconsistencies in the final texture of your crispy skin, because what scoring it does is it helps relax the back of that fish. So when you cook it on the skin side down and when it starts to get nice and crispy, it tightens. And if it's not scored like that, then it's gonna start to try to buckle the fish and kind of bend it so that it kind of rounds up a little bit. And that's just gonna not have an even flat surface for that skin to get beautiful and crispy. So now add in a generous amount of your blackening spice which we just created. Be generous with it because that's a thick piece of fish. And then add some olive oil on the top as well, and then just brush that and mop that seasoning all over that surface. And then put some seasoning in the slits we cut earlier as well. There's some fish in there, so make sure you season that and brush that as well. Now we're gonna put a nice film of olive oil on our pan, but don't worry, we're not eating all of this. That's gonna help create that nice, beautiful, crispy skin. Put the fish on that pan once it's sizzling, just like this, away from you always, and then just let this cook on the skin side down. Cooking it skin side down will help make sure that the fish does not overcook. The skin will protect the actual fish and it's going to prevent it from overcooking. We're going to focus only on the skin. We'll cook it on a moderate heat to make sure the skin doesn't burn and it becomes nice and crispy. Now let's focus on our cream spinach while that salmon cooks. Now usually you use a combination of maybe cream cheese, cream, milk, and parmesan to make a nice cream spinach. But the problem with lots of these holiday or rich vegetarian sides is they're rich. Like it's supposed to be some greens that you should be having with your main, but if the greens, the side is richer than the main, what's the point? We've lost the plot then. So start by adding in some olive oil in a pan and then add in your finely chopped onions and a bit of garlic as well. Give that a good saute, and we want to continue to sweat these onions until they've browned a little bit and they appear translucent and soft in texture, just kind of like this. That's looking beautiful. Then add in all of your spinach. You don't have to pre-cook them, just add them all into the pan, and you can add them in batches so that you give them the chance to wilt. But once they have mostly wilted, then let's just create a well in the middle and we'll start adding the rest of our ingredients. It's going to be a really easy one-pot dish. So add in your 10% table cream along with a bit of yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt if you want as well, and then a generous amount of Parmesan. We want to simmer that just a little bit and then just mix that in once it starts to thicken, and just simmer this for a couple of minutes until any excess moisture has boiled away from our pan. Don't forget to season it with a bit of salt. Now this version won't be the lightest version ever, but it won't be the richest one either. Just trying to hit a balance here. Also, for those following a keto diet, this cream spinach could be a good option because I've seen some recipes using flour while I'm not using it. So maybe you could fit this in somewhere. Just have a look at this. Like, that's just looking super good. And I know you can't taste it, but you can look at it and just tell how tasty that is. Now, all you have to do is when you're about to serve it, just top it with some nice Parmesan. And now let's finish up our mashed potatoes because our potatoes are done. So I'm gonna add it all into my KitchenAid mixer and then add in some of my molten butter. This is super simple. Then add in some more 10% cream for our potatoes. Again, it's a light cream, not heavy cream, and then just whip that up until it's nice and creamy like this. Then add in your salt, and I know white pepper might be better for aesthetics, but I just love black pepper in my mashed potatoes. So give that a really good foul mix, and feel free to adjust the consistency by adding more or less cream. This is ready, so all you have to do is give it a taste test. Just make sure you don't have a couple dozen tablespoons like me. You can set those mashed potatoes aside and we can just reheat it once our salmon is ready to plate. So this is my second submission to the Live to Cook bucket list theme for this week. All of you have until Sunday, until 5 p.m. that day to submit all of your recipes for your bucket list challenge. Again, the theme was to cook something that you've been wanting to make, or that you saw somewhere and you own it down in your mind or on a notebook that, hey, I should make this. This looks really good. It's time for you to make it, time for you to share it, because it's the Live to Cook, as you can see, Live to Cook challenge. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of your recipes. Now, if any of you want to get a head start on the upcoming themes for this month, for the month of January, there are 3 themes remaining. Then be sure to click the link down below, download the guide, the Live to Cook guide, and you also get a free how to make cooking fun guide and a sample of my upcoming book, just so you can have some fun while preparing for this challenge. The fish is looking great and you can see it cooking from the sides. Now, once you've seen that the fish has cooked about 80% up to that mark, then you have to decide, do you want to eat a medium salmon or do you want to eat a well done salmon? If it's medium, all you have to do is flip it, let that top side touch the pan, kiss the pan, and then flip it back onto the skin side. But if you want it well done, just leave it cooking for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. And while some of you might not have tried a crispy skin salmon before, let me tell you what it tastes like. So if you do it right, and if you let the salmon skin cook on a moderate amount of heat and let that oil make it nice and crispy, it tastes just like a chip. A salty, savory chip, and once you have it once, you'd want to have it again and again. There is a risk of burning it, and if you burn it, it would taste a bit salty, I would say. But you have to cook it on a moderate heat until you get a nice golden brown, crisp skin, just like this. Now, one thing that's easy to miss is once you're happy with the doneness of your fish, then just make sure to turn it back skin side down on the pan. The idea is that once you're happy with your fish, you leave it skin side down on the hot pan while you prepare your plates, while you prepare and reheat your sides so that that skin can remain nice and crispy. Every time I look at that, I'm in awe, and that's just looking uber beautiful. And this is going to be an epic meal, you can just tell, and it's just so easy to do. It's easier than it seems, and I'm really looking forward to all of you watching this and trying it for yourself. If you enjoyed this recipe, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what's on your bucket list and what you're thinking of making for the Live to Cook challenge. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and for more fish and seafood, click the links over here.